colleagues, on behalf of the United Nations Development Programme, I would like to welcome you all to today's event that was called to summarize the achievements of the Equal Opportunities and Women's Rights Programme and to acknowledge all of those that have contributed to the success of the programme. The United Nations Development Programme has historically been very deeply committed to promotion of gender equality in Ukraine. Being one of the first international organizations to raise the issue of gender parity in the country back in the late 90s, we know from our own experience that the transformation of gender relationships in the society takes time. Patience and a good portion of political will is needed. We also know that it's not enough to bring gender onto the legislative agenda as it was done back in 2001 through the adaptation of the law on prevention of violence in family and in 2005 with the adaptation of law on provision of equal rights to men and women. To make the legislative framework functional, the state should accumulate corresponding policy instruments and what is even more important, change agents, institutions and individuals at the top, middle and low levels of the society. This is exactly what the Equal Opportunities and Women's Rights Programme aimed to do in 3 years, in 3 areas selected for their potential to leverage change, and these were public administration, education, and response to and prevention of domestic violence. During its 3-year cycle, the program achieved significant results, working in a quite a complex and sometimes challenging environment. I cannot but mention some highlights of the program. During these 3 years, with the support of the program, the state program for ensuring equal rights and opportunities for men and women for the next 5 years was developed. The institutional framework for domestic violence prevention and response was reviewed and analyzed. The national database of gender statistics was compiled and analyzed by the State Statistics Committee of Ukraine. First in Eastern Europe, departments of gender studies were established in Ukrainian universities. Overall, more than 100 knowledge products were developed by the program. You will hear more about the program's achievements from our partners, and I would like to just bring to your attention to what we consider an invisible but very important result of the project work. During this turbulent time of changes caused by in-depth public administration reform, the project continued to be a source of gender expertise and knowledge, as well as a solid platform which united efforts of all those, including the civil society, that have gender expertise and knowledge, who advocated for the preservation of the national gender machinery. As a result, gender policy agenda was finally involved into the institutionalized mechanism inside the Ministry of Social Policy. A department was established, and we are really proud and happy that we've been involved in supporting this process. The accomplishments that have been achieved by the program couldn't have been possible if there were not for the fruitful partnership and cooperation between UNDP, civil society, the delegation of the European Union, and the government of Ukraine. Our particular appreciation goes to Mr. Sefuli, to Mrs. Tolstoukova, to Mrs. Kondrachuk, and Mrs. Zhukovskaya, who serve as national project directors for their continuous support and dedication. Our route to equality is not an easy one. And though much has been achieved in Ukraine, even more lies ahead. So let us pray and be creative enough to take up the challenges of tomorrow. Thank you very much.